Back to the Scrim stream. This is going to be the All-Star game, and should be exciting. It's been about 4 or 5 seasons since we've had one of these. Finally got one together. The only sub that we did need is that Jacob is going to be in for PB for the first team All-Stars. The second team All-Stars did end up getting side select for this game, so they are going to select blue side. And just to run it through again, that is going to be Avery, Bean, Sarverus, Dave, and Dad versus the first team, who is Lispy, Jar, Brewer, Hongbaba, and Jacob. So should be a bit of a banger. Hopefully all of the highlights and stuff work, but the key player for the first team All-Stars is going to be Lispy. Most played champions are going to be this Garen, Scion, Shen, Poppy, and Kennen. Kennen actually higher on there than I'd expect, but 16 unique champions played, very solid win rate. 45 games, very good KDA. Going over to the other key player is going to be Dad on the Blue All-Stars. The Bard, Maokai, Zillion, Rel, and Nautilus up there. More games played, almost double, but the win rate is a little bit lower, but twice the amount of unique champions and a better KDA. Both of these players are, very, very feared. I think some of the newer players in the lobby, but I do want to shout out our two rookies. We do have Lispy and Dave, I believe, are the two rookies in here, and then we have some of our veterans. We have Hongbaba, Jacob, Mason, all the way back towards the beginning of Scrim Zone, all on the first team. Should be exciting. But moving forward, the champions to watch are actually Darius for both Avery and Bean, so I expect that to be a pretty easy ban coming out here. Sarvis and Brewer have this contested Syndra pick, could just be a first pick angle. And then Dave and Dad with the Hui and Zillion to round it out. It is really funny seeing the two Dariuses here. Looking on to the other side, though, this Garen is almost definitely going to be banned. Same with the Udyr. I would imagine maybe you leave up Echo, except then it's a flex, so maybe you don't. I think you're probably going to leave up Jinx. So my guesses for bans would be probably Darius from the first team, and then maybe Neela. I don't know. Probably Zillion taken off the table. Maybe a Singed. Although Mason and Lispy are both Singed players, so we could see some Singed Prio here. Same with Syndra. I think those two champions are going to be super high on the list. But I don't know. I think Darius needs to be banned. Probably going to be Zillion. And then the other team, my guess is going to be Garen, Udyr, and Echo. But it's hard to know. And obviously, Hongbaba has a huge champion pool that usually does get hit with bans here. So it's super hard to predict this. Since this is an all-star game, I think there's a lot of fun stuff going on there. Think but we should be getting into draft at 7:40, so we have another about 7 minutes to go over this, and the key matchup is going to be Hongbaba versus Dave. Hongbaba ended up winning the in team format series and has 103 wins on ADC and 77 losses with a 3.04 KDA. Dave with a bit worse win-loss record, but the better KDA here, but got absolutely smoked in this matchup. They have no champions in common in their matchup, but the Jinx is contested between the two of them. Same with the Kaisa. I don't really expect to see too much pyro on any of these other champions, but this is definitely going to be the lane to watch. Hongbaba is going to be paired up with Jacob in the bot lane. I think that's going to be pretty interesting. They've actually done pretty well together in the past, I feel like, whereas Dave and Dad, I'm not sure if they've ever played together. I do think that's one of the advantages that we have for the Red All-Stars, is that a lot of them have been playing together for so long. Lispy being the one exception there, and Brewer being a little bit newer, but Lispy does have the synergy of being on the same team as his jungler. And looking over on the blue side, the obvious thing is that 3 of these players are currently on Andromeda, and if you add in Avery, who was playing with these people for so long, that helps a lot too. But Dave is basically a complete unknown to these players, which I think is going to shake things up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I think looking across the board, I think there are going to be some very fun matchups. So I'm going to try and just run through this and see if I can't generate even more key matchups, just because I think they're all going to be fun. But I will just kind of walk through them while we have the time, and I will hope that I do this in a smart way. But looking at it, Avery versus Lispy. Lispy's actually 5-1 versus him, which is insane. Absolutely dominating this matchup. So I think that is probably going to be slightly in red side's favor there. I don't think there's too much to talk about there. Not too much overlap between these two players' champion pools. The Cyan and the Ornn are both there, but everything else is honestly pretty different. I didn't do this in a smart way. Oopsies. But I should be able to get our jungle matchup data up soon. That's obviously going to be a huge one to look at too. And Mason is actually so far up against Bean. He's 6-2 versus him, better stats overall, and there is basically no champion pool overlap here, except for the Singed. I'm actually just not seeing anything else at all, which is crazy. I don't think there's a huge amount of contested picks between these two players, so I think it's just going to be both players kind of getting what they want, except for maybe one or two champions that's going to get banned away from them. Looking at mid lane up next, that is going to be Sarvis versus Gruer. I think behind Sarvis versus Tusini, this is one of the most talked about mid lane matchups in the server, and Gruer is up 9-4 on him also. So the first team all-stars have been pretty dominant here. Gruer 4.52 KDA. It's disgusting. He's 97 wins, 59 losses, and is up a lot in the matchup. Sarver's just been struggling here, but his stats overall are pretty good, and he obviously was this season's MVP. And again, nothing crazy overlap-wise in champion pool for them. They have Syndra and Silas, so that's kind of big, but I expect Syndra to be contested, and the other ones not so much. We did look at the bot lane, which again was in the favor of the first team all-stars, which if you take all of this into consideration, there are like vast favorites to win this. I think each individual player has the up on the other one, which is making it, seem a little bit one-sided, and that is what it is when it's first team versus second team. I think people view each of these players as just being the better alternative to the person on the other team. But then now we get into Dad versus Jacob, where that could be the one matchup where that's not considered true, because Jacob is subbing in. But Jacob actually did just end up beating Dad in 2 games last night. Does not save the matchup stats. He's still 3-5 against him, and Dad's stats are just so much better. Jacob 105 and 111 overall, and Dad 36 and 22, definitely putting him in the advantage there. And the matchup stats here, 5-3 for Dad, with basically his normal champion pool, but Zillion been denied basically every single time. And you look at Jacob, he's actually been playing a bunch of different stuff versus Dad. 3 of his champions in the top 5 are represented, but he hasn't been playing the Nautilus and Sona as much, and has opted for more defensive picks with more CC with the Seraphine and the Braum. So it kind of feels like he needs to adapt to deal with Dad, but I don't know. I'm going to kick it over here. This is obviously wrong. This is the draft from last night. I apologize for anyone confused there. And I will try and remove these parentheses because they're a bit of an eyesore. I don't actually think that did anything. Oh, because the parentheses are just automatically added. Oh, well. I can't do anything there. I do apologize. It's going to look a little scuffed, but we should be getting into draft in about a minute. Should be a bit of a banger. Banger matchup. I was in call with the Blue All-Stars, and I did let them know that they were the underdogs. They didn't seem to agree with me, so I'll have to see. I am honestly expecting a bit of a stomp. I think if that doesn't happen, I'll be very pleasantly surprised. I think that would be way more exciting. I just think the realistic odds of that happening are a bit lower. But, always possible. If they're all pretty even and then the gap between support is that big, or maybe people were just wrong about the voting, that could be a big thing too. Garen is denied, that's expected, so is Zillion, and I'm expecting Udyr or Echo here. They are waiting a little bit. It is just going to be the Udyr, so I expect to see probably Darius gone here. could be interesting. Maybe the Singed, if they're afraid of it on this side, is going to be the Neela instead, which is another one that I guessed at. And I believe this should just be Echo unless they're looking to just first pick it. It's going to be Jinx instead. So Echo is on the table. So is Singed. I think they should just leave it up and just trade the 2 picks. I think that's fine. I don't know what else you'd hit. It is just going to be the Singe. So this could be an uncontested Echo, but I think the likelihood of them dealing with that is pretty low. So maybe this is just going to be a Darius for Echo trade. But I think you can let Darius fall over and then he'll just get it back, because I don't think the Red All-Stars are going to pick it away. And they did speak facts that neither mid laner is catching a ban. So that is a little exciting. The first pick is just going to be the Darius. I think that makes total sense, but this has got to be an Echo pick. There ain't no way. It's a flex pick. It is insane value, and with Singed off the table, I don't think there's another pick that's even remotely close in priority. The set hover is coming through. This could just be Lispy just hard egoing it, and it is going to get locked in, and now comes the Echo, and we have no clue which lane this is going into. I think the Avery versus Set matchup is going to be super exciting to watch top lane. I think this might be the first time Avery's gotten to play the Darius into Lispy, so that could be pretty exciting. And we'll have to see if this counter pick is cooked up. I think both of these players are definitely going to take some practice to heart after this game, because they are playing each other on Sunday. So that makes things a little interesting. The Kai'Sa is just going to be locked in. This, again, is a flex between Sarvis and Dave. Some of these champions shared among the pools, I think, makes things a lot more exciting. Gonna have to see what Sarvis or what the next pick for the blue team is. Neferi hovered again. I think the champion, they gentlemaned that it's gone. Allowed but only support maybe. So it might end up with Dad playing it, which would be a little interesting. But no, they're gonna rotate over to Akali, which does immediately kill the flex. So it is just going to be Sarvis on Akali mid. So Gruer gets the chance to blind pick this. I would assume that he'd take it before we enter the ban phase. And then I believe this means that the Kai'Sa is for sure going over to Dave. Hong also could counterpick the Kai'Sa too. We have seen no junglers picked up for blue side, so I think it'd be pretty easy for red side to just take away some of the bans. The Ashe is going to be locked in for Teddy. Not really the pick that you're hoping to see him on, but maybe he just wants to sit back, be supportive, and just let the rest of his team carry, because oh my god, the top side of the first team is filled with carries. I think you look over to the blue team, and that is still very true. I think Bean is a less carry-focused jungler than Mason is, but I don't know. I think this Ashe Kai'Sa matchup is going to be an attempt from the red side to kind of stabilize the bot side of the map and try not to lose through there if they think Dave is the biggest threat. And Dad, clearly tired of the Seraphine from last night, is going to take it away. And the 2 support bans coming out towards Dad make total sense. I think Bean's shown that his champion pool is pretty big. But this last pick is being hovered. And I would expect it to be another support ban, because the Echo is a flex between the other 2 roles. Maybe a ban to the Akali counter would be smart as well, but we will have to see. And this is going to be the last televised match of these 3 Andromeda players on the second team All-Stars, which is pretty interesting. And Galio is just going to be banned. Braum going to be picked up with Ashe. Very good combo. And now, oh my god, this is the worst spot to be in of all time if you are on Blue All-Stars, because the last pick for R5 for the first team All-Stars is either R5 for Mason or R5 for Gruer. You don't want either of these people having that, and now they both have it at the same time. Obviously, one of them is going to have to play Echo. They can't both avoid it and pick something else, but I don't know. Very interesting stuff. Going over to the blue team, they're just going to lock in Poppy. I believe that is going to be the jungler, but it could be the support too. A few dashes on the team. It's kind of able to counter Braum and the Echo. So maybe it's going to go jungle and follow it around the map. And Leona is locked in here. Or not. It was just hovered. I missaw. Rakan hovered instead. Does pair well with the Poppy. The Poppy's able to initiate pretty well, and Rakan can just immediately get on top of her, and any CC is just going to allow Kai'Sa to follow up. Could be pretty fun. And the Rakan is locked in. I don't actually know what the specific matchup tech is into Braum, so there could be an angle there that makes it a pretty good pick, and it looks like, yes, that is the case. And now this R5 pick that we've all been waiting for is the hovered LeBlanc, and it is going to be locked in. So this is going to be the jungle Echo, probably the boring ass tank build that is just way too good. So we will have to see how this goes. I like the draft for red side way better. I think it's a lot more exciting. But there is a lot of comfort for the blue all-stars. I think they have a high chance to make something happen here. My eyes are on gonna be on Bean and Dad to do some playmaking for, I think, mostly Starburst and Dave, just because those are the two more mobile champions, and I think Avery's just gonna have to get his stuff done in the top lane. But if the Echo and LeBlanc are able to work together and just completely change the tempo of the game, then that's going to be very powerful. I am going to try and get our champion assets pulled up. I think this is a very fun draft. I think the only kind of boring pick we have is the Teddy Ashe. I think there's a lot more exciting picks that he could perform on, but you don't want to have everyone on your team on carries. And having this extra CC to set up for the Echo and the LeBlanc is going to be super nice. But kind of kicking it back over, these player matchups that we were looking at earlier are so interesting to me. Super in the favor of the first team all-stars, and I think that kind of indicates that the voting was correct. But the KDAs in these specific matchups for the blue side are so bad, and everyone's basically at like a 3.5 or 4 over on the red side, with the exception of the support, obviously. Going over to the overall records, I think Darius is a very high performing champion in the server. Kaisa played a shit ton, slightly losing. Ashe actually very successful, same with the Braum. And the Echo. Set is a big historic Scrims underperformer, 27 and 45 with a 1.56 KDA, easily the worst champion on the board in terms of overall Scrims history. And moving into the season records, that's about the same. Set's actually even worse. So we'll have to see if they can kind of lock in and get that done. And Echo has been performing so well this season. Same with the Rakan. Those are the two champions to look for, in my opinion. The Darius, obviously, specifically very good for certain players in the league. And Avery is one of them. So I think he has a lot of potential going in here, especially versus the possibly weaker set. And Ashe and Braum actually doing a little worse this season than they've done in the past, which I think makes sense. But going over to the champion matchup, Set has beaten Darius before, which makes sense. Same with Poppy. Those are both counters that were picked. Akali and LeBlanc have actually never played into each other, which is fascinating. Ashe was the counter pick into Kaisa, and Rakan was the counter pick into Braum, and those are both flipped. So just in terms of overall Scrim Zone records, we were kind of 50-50 on counter picks, but I think statistically all the counter picks were pretty good. But looking at past performance, that's what I want to know. Avery is 22 and 8 on Darius. That is by far the most disgusting performance on the screen here. Brewer 6 and 1 on LeBlanc is mad respectable, but that's not 22 wins and 8 losses respectable. The win rate's a little bit bigger, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's had the ability to just slam this champion every game and find success like it seems like Avery has been able to do on the Darius. Jacob actually undefeated on Braum, pretty interesting, 2-0 on the pick. Mason only 8-7 on Echo. I think you'd assume he was a little bit better, but Bean 2-0, 7 KDA on the Poppy. Maybe he'll end up dropping a game here, but maybe not. And Dad again on the Rakan, very good KDA, very good performance in the one game that he's played it. And I don't have too much more to say here. We have about 2 minutes until we get into game. Not too many viewers here, so I'm not going to do a prediction, but I think this will make for absolute cinema on the rewatch. But I don't know. My predictions for this game is that I think the red side, the first team all-stars, are just going to absolutely smash. Their draft looks so good. They have so much comfort for everyone on their team, except for Lispy, who has not played the set before. So I think if blue side, the second team all-stars are going to find the win, it's going to be through the Darius getting a lead, and then maybe Poppy and Rakan kind of transferring it to the mid or bot lane and keeping everyone going. We will definitely have to see. Well, I can hear Mason talking shit. It's complete and utter silence otherwise. A bit funny on my end, but should be loading into game in about 20 seconds. And I think the fact that he's so loud so early probably means that the game gets a little exciting. Hopefully I will not be able to tell what's going on when the game sounds are kicking in during the game. But should be loading in any second. The spectator delay is being a little bit weird, but should be hopping in. And this is the second ever All-Star game that we've done, and it's been a couple of years since we've done one. So I think basically 3 years, 2.5. So I'm pretty excited. I think the Red All-Stars probably have it in them this time, but we will definitely have to see. And if you look at the mastery, if it'll load, Lispy, the only one to not really have played as champion much at all, being the second lowest on it, and the highest mastery is easily Mason. He's like double anyone else in the game combined. He, I think, has more mastery than the entire other team combined, which is insane. That's like actually so ludicrous, but I don't know. This should be an exciting game. We have the LeBlanc locked in here for Brewer versus the Akali. I think that's going to be a very fun, exciting, double electrocute assassin type matchup, and we are in game now, so nothing to do but watch.
Hello, do you still need a co-caster?
Sure, that sounds good to me.
I'm basically done dinner.
Gotcha. We literally just loaded into game, so if you want to kind of give your predictions based off draft, I've given my opinion here, but
I don't know, you said blue draft is way more exciting. I think Akali Darius Kaisa is like way more exciting for the side of blue side.
I'm confused. You said I said blue side is more exciting.
Sorry, you said red side draft is more exciting.
Well, Dad's just going to get stunned in first blood going over to Brewer. I think he just a little ambitious. His ward, he didn't actually get a ward down, so I'm not really sure what he was doing there. Flash was available. I think he just wanted to give a little donation over, and Dave's calling for a remake. He was lagging in the head.
I am surprised to see Bean lock in the Poppy. It makes sense into their champs, but not something I usually expect to see him playing.
Yeah, I mean, it might have just been his prepped counter pick if he ever had to play against Mason's Echo. Obviously not going to happen anymore, but we get to watch it now. I think it's a decent counter matchup wise, and I think Poppy is enough off meta that it makes sense for to be something that Bean will play. Top lane is going to be the most exciting for me here, though. Avery on Giga Comfort versus the top laner that's viewed to be a little better on a champion that he's never played in the server before. And I don't know. The Avery Darius skill test is a very important one, so going to be up to Lispy to make this one count.
Yeah, this is also the top lane matchup for the next series, I believe.
Yep. Unless
which is exciting.
The other series.
Unless other one gets scheduled before, yeah.
Jacob actually the only player from either of those teams in here, which does make the Big Bananas and Metabusters staying in the tournament all that more impressive when they don't necessarily have too many all-stars around.
Yeah, actually looking at blue side team, 4 of them were eliminated by either Metabusters or Big Bananas.
Yeah. And Avery did pop the ghost, and Lispy just going to flash in, drop the Ignite, and it's going to trade the flash. That's all 4 sums down, and I think Avery is just going to live here, but does not have teleport, so kind of just has to stay in lane and see what he can get here. But Lispy taking a couple tower shots does not put him in a great position. Avery able to heal up a little bit, but is going to find the counter kill. It is actually just an execute, so well played to the red team here.
Yeah, it is worth pointing out neither top laner is running teleport. We have Ignite for Lispy and Ghost for Avery, so I'm expecting to see them continue to fight pretty aggressively.
Yeah, honestly, some cowards in the mid lane for not taking it there. Just no TP game in All-Stars would be pretty exciting, but no, we're going to be cringe instead.
Yeah, just make your ADC play it.
True.
That's what real gamers do.
Yeah, Dad finding a double knockup here. Dave looking to go in on it. Is about to proc the plasma onto Jacob, but still not going to be winning that trade. They're actually off vision, so there's not going to be much follow-up from the first team here. Sarvis is just getting collapsed on. Mason not able to find the 3-pop on the passive, but is just going to walk away. Takes damage from a Poppy auto, but that's about it.
Yeah, we are seeing small CS leads in everywhere except for top, where Lispy starts a trade onto Avery, and I think hit the W sweet spot there.
Yeah, and Avery has the bleed stacked up, but Set is just going to heal out of that up with the regen, and Avery in a position where he might have to just back again here. Or die. That's always a possibility too. Brewer burning the TP, trying to get back into lane, gets a decent trade down on the Sarvis, but he's not going to be able to find the kill until he gets 6, I don't think. And Lispy actually just almost dies the tower, but is able to find the kill. The tower shot actually giving him so much extra damage on his W. He was just able to walk up, and now this CS lead is going to grow even more. Bean's in the area to try and look for something, but I don't think it's going to happen.
That was a great buffer by Avery, but unfortunately,
Lispy just trying to fight it. It's just going to take so much damage immediately. Falling down low, trying to get the stun onto the minion, but is going to get traded back. And now Dad in trouble, is able to flash out, but Jacob flashes on top of him to start stacking the passive, and this is going to be a kill going over to Hong Baba. Good stuff from the first team bot lane.
That's my goat right there.
Which?
Man, how the times change. How weren't we both in the last All-Star match that was played?
I don't remember. That doesn't seem wrong. Jacob most definitely was not, but he didn't technically qualify for this one either, so take that as you will.
I don't know. I think that guy's best support in the server.
You think he's the better best support in the server than our teammate who was voted as best support in the server?
Well, that guy's AFK. He doesn't count. He's not alive. I don't know. I've never seen PB father dad like this.
So true.
And I will never get the opportunity to.
I guess. And
Bean is able to take away the growth here.
Bean here immediately gets ulted. I don't know if Lispy's going to be able to win this one. The Darius stack is going to come out soon, but Bean has to flash away, and now Gruer's going to be here to make sure that Avery's going to die. Teammate on teammate violence, but the kill is going to go over to Lispy. Now Sarvis is here to maybe clean up the end of the fight, but that's a full health LeBlanc, who didn't really have to commit all that much in that fight. Mason just going to go for the crab, and they were able to pick up the dragon, so it's dragon for 3 grubs straight across the map.
I need to tell Gruer to take it easy so that our mental is good for next series.
It's okay. You boost his mental, and PB obviously the support on his team. It's a 2-for-1 trade. And Mason just looking to go in onto Sarvis here. Does immediately get hit with the Akali ultimate. Has the ultimate of his own. Is going to wait till he drops down and ults back in, but he's in the middle of 4 people, and Mason's just going to get caught out here. But he gets over the wall, double flash over, and they're going to pick up the kill going over to the ADC. I think only one of those is necessary, but that does suck a little bit. But hey, you didn't let the Echo get away.
That felt super familiar. I'm getting like deja vu from Game 3 of Fruitcakes against Andromeda.
Sarvis just going to get traded on here. The chain is going to hit, and Sarvis just getting poked out. Gruer has the advantage in this matchup right now and does have the ultimate available. Could look for a burst, but there's 3 people looking to make a play onto Jacob. Weren't able to find the stun into the wall, but he's not able to dash away. He's going to get knocked out by the Braum. Now going to try and get back to the Ashe now that the Poppy Field's gone, but I just don't think he's even going to need to. So much damage coming down, and now the Ashe arrow is going to hit onto the Kai'Sa. Shield coming out from Dad to kind of save him a little bit, but Kai'Sa falling down super low. No follow-up for the rest of the team, so it's just going to be Teddy versus all 3. Good block by Braum, actually able to save a lot of damage from Hong, but I don't think they're going to be able to keep fighting this. And Poppy goes in for the play, and Teddy just has to flash. Jacob falling down super low, and I think they just got to walk this out and pray a Kai'Sa W doesn't hit him, but no mana for Dave, so that might not be a concern.
No one dying there is kind of crazy. Everyone dropped pretty low except for Dad.
Yeah, and Avery is just going to get stunned up under tower by Mason. He's actually able to walk out of it, but Lispy going to take him out of tower range and just charge up that W, and that's a 420 KDA for the set. Smoking his ass in the top lane.
Yeah, it picks up 2 plates as well. Most fed member, I think, by a pretty wide margin in this game.
Yeah, it's almost double his gold. That's actually disgusting. 4,000 to 2,000. Almost making up the entire gold lead.
Yeah, just about. Guess the rest of it is on mid? Or, yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes a little either way.
There's a very large CS lead for red side in jungle as well, but I think the kill evens that out just a tiny bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I think Dave and Teddy are both in about equally good positions. You're not finding a play on a Guru here, but that just trying to show up, have some fun. Now looking for an engage. Does not have that dash available. Jacob in the area, but Root going to come out onto Rakan, and Guru takes the Akali Q. But
Dad unfortunately ticked to 6 just after he used his W. I think we will be getting a large fight around these grubs. Looks like Mason's gonna back to try to get here, but we are seeing Jacob show up ahead of time as well.
Yeah, Jacob is just going to get caught out here. I don't know if he's going to die, but they're going to slam Jacob back into the other side. And it does get his dash canceled, trying to make it to Gruer, but is going to ult hit 2, but I think he's just going to die. And now Gruer is on the backside, but Lispy caught in between 4, and I think this could be a tough position for him. They do need to stall until the Echo can do here, but Ashe R could help a lot in this fight. It's not expended yet. And Lispy able to hit so many people with that empowered W, gets so much damage. He's able to find 1 kill, finds a second one, is going to get cut down by the perfect execution, but that fight overall was in favor for the first team All-Stars. And Gruer hunting for another one on the back of it, and Mason could just solo these grubs.
We're playing pretty cocky there. Just sidestep the Rakan W, doesn't use the distortion, I believe it's called.
Yep. Yeah, Ashe Arrow still not used. If it hits on one of these mid laners, that's just going to be a free kill for LeBlanc, but who knows if that will end up happening. Teddy definitely has the advantage in this 1v1 matchup, but the CS has actually been a little even, almost favoring Dave here.
Dave notably does have the kill, is down the assist, but his team is down 4 to 8, so I think that's forgivable.
Yeah, for sure.
And
grubs are now evened out, and the next dragon is going to spawn. I think this one's probably going to be in control of the first team All-Stars as well, which could get a little interesting. Avery has just not had any fun this game, 0-5. And has gotten ganked a couple times, and the TP is going to come out from LeBlanc to just secure this dragon, but there's always a chance of a flip. You're going to break out now. The Ashe ult is going to connect. Huge stun coming down, and Bean just was not allowed to move at all this fight. Dad's in the pit just taking a ward. I think he's having a bit of a good time. He's just going to dash out, and they know that there's no way they can contest this.
Rungus Changwan got caught by the arrow. I was going to say, if you ignore the CS in mid, that's actually Sarver's favored, but now I don't even know if that's true.
Yeah, and Gruer just going in, gets so much damage. Gruer gonna teleport back out. A single ability should be able to get this, but actually gets the clone out of Gruer, and it's not an easy spot for him to be in, but now Gruer flashes over the wall, and then W's back in, is able to pick up the kill. Very silly stuff. Avery flying down super low. I don't think Lispy's going to be able to pick up a kill, but Avery cannot do anything in this lane.
Get my man some help.
Yeah, Avery's going to look to just stack this up. Lispy going to do the Lispy Classic and just hit tower. And now he ults Avery out and is just trying to get some damage down. Walks forward, and that W is not going to get the kill. Doesn't do too much damage with he's not taking any himself.
Dave gotta keep the APM up, gonna spam some emotes while he farms.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. When you're down 4K, it's a little tough to have too much fun. Also, the objectives are over. Feats have been fully claimed by the first team All-Stars, and they're looking for some poke. On Dave, the first turret has been claimed, and all 3 feats would have gone over to them, considering that.
And I wanted to shout out the ADCs for having good CS, but then you look at the solo lanes for the first team All-Stars, and they're just doing even better, so...
Yeah, I don't know. This map is a little rough for the second team. They did want to take the challenge, so I respect them for that. Going about what you'd expect, I do think.
After this game, they're flipping sides, right?
No, they only have time for 1 game.
Oh, only 1 game? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, Sarvis is just going to get rooted up, and Brewer should just be able to find another kill here. Once Akali gets snared, it's pretty much just over for her.
Well, I think if the first team All-Stars weren't cowards, they would have given second team All-Stars counterpick. And gone to blue side.
I mean, second team had side select.
Oh, okay, then they're stupid. I have no excuses anymore. Yeah, I guess at this point it's kind of just on Dave to carry, but with Avery so far behind and being so far behind, you kind of don't really have an amazingly strong front line.
I mean, I think Akali can do stuff too. She's not that far behind. But
I think she's pretty far behind, brother.
I don't know. I mean, a good Akali can blow up the Ashe here, or
That's true,
the Echo
but,
doesn't
like,
have any tank items yet.
You can blow up the Ashe, but then, you know, solid engage coming here onto Lispy, but he'll just ult out of tower range. Has the E flashed. Should be a kill, maybe?
Yeah, he's able to get one.
Nope.
He's still alive now. The set passive goes
I don't think he's gonna die.
Yeah, there's no way you're taking this guy down. Maybe if the Akali just sprints at him, but doesn't even have ultimate, so there's no guaranteed connection. And Set healing up a lot from the passive, but now the ADCs are fighting each other, and Kaisa dropping the ultimate is going to have the advantage in this fight. Might find the solo bolo. It's so close in Mark Spectre. Dave is going to be able to pick it up. Really well played there, and Gruer looking for another kill onto Dr. Dad, but Dad can just dash out there, and that's the ADC stuff that we wanted to see from that 101 Thieves Alvis Inferno series that we just did not end up seeing when they both locked in mages. God damn it, man.
Oh, that was so well played by Dave. Predicted the Ashe arrow, flashed preemptively, didn't even wait for it to come out, just knew it was going to happen. That was awesome.
Yeah, I think if
Looks
Ashe
like a
hits
fight
are there, it's
breakout
pretty
over
good.
the Herald.
Yeah, I mean, Avery's just going to get slammed here. Gruer picks up the root, is going to find the kill on him. He's only worth 141 gold, and now Bean's just getting chased out of here. Not much that he can do, and he's just going to get picked up as well. Double kill for LeBlanc. Maybe they're looking to make it a triple. Sarvis is just going to get snared up here, and they space that perfectly. Does not get hit by the Rakan W, and now the knockout comes through with Jacob's ultimate. Maybe they're going to find a kill onto Sarvis too, but they're getting a little close to tower, and actually good return kill from Dave. He's 3-0 this game, playing really well, but now he is going to get stunned up, and Teddy's going to get his revenge, albeit not a solo kill this time. Mason's just going to drop the ultimate. Rakan counter-ultering it, but actually really good play. Undergrew is able to charm him, but he doesn't save Sarvis, and now it's an 8k gold lead at 17 minutes. It is a little rough. The Herald could just be picked up here, or they can get soul point.
Yeah, I was going to say earlier, you said Akali is still in the game, can still one-shot the Ashe, but I think if you use your cooldowns on the Ashe, you still just lose to the LeBlanc in the set, so...
Yeah, I don't know. Dave's playing okay.
Yeah. Shout out Mark Spector, that's the Moon Knight himself. Is putting in some work.
Yeah, he's doing his best. This is going to be a pretty free dragon for him. So, I don't know. Things are looking pretty damn good for the first team. I don't know. I just think it's funny. I saw these two rosters. I go, this is not even going to be close. It's like a complete slam. And people seem to think I was out of my mind. So I feel a little validated here. I think it's going to be even more true if it was PB over Jacob. I was talking about, but Jacob's been having a pretty good game. So it's not shaded him. I just think PB got the votes, I think. If you trust,
don't sleep on my boy. That's #1 championship holder in scrims on all time.
So true. Avery now just getting caught out here. Was looking to maybe hit the tower. He's way too far up though, and they're just gonna kill him.
All Jacob.
Now they're going in. They're gonna find the knock-up on the Hong Baba, and he is just gonna be taken out. Good execution from the Kaisa there, and now Brewer maybe looking to find a kill on the backside of it, and I think this blast cone is going to be critical, but he just goes right into Jacob, but Jacob's going to miss that Q, but the tether is going to come through, and Brewer going to pick up another kill, and he goes godlike. Flashes over the wall, trying to find Rakan, who is actually able to just get his recall off.
We have a 7-0-4 LeBlanc.
Yeah, Teddy doesn't seem too thrilled about that flash. The Brahmin Echo Dash in sync there was so funny. But Avery and Dad now kind of grouping up towards mid. Guru's just going to be on the side lane. Akali trying to find a tower here. Might actually be able to get something back for his team. And Brewer is 7-0 for this game. Has a 1,000 gold bounty on his head. The rest of his team is just going to pick up the Rift Herald. So maybe this would be the time for him to be killed. But he does have an ultimate. So I think it's going to be quite hard for them to do that.
Also have the Hextech portals, and I think he'll just be out. He does also have the 10-stack seal. Might be looking to pick up a book soon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It'd be funny if we had two funny books on the Echo and the LeBlanc, but we'll have to see. And now Sarvers has found Mason, who just hops over to a blast code and autos it just for the effect, but he's now getting tagged up by Dave. The Ashe is in the area to help him out, and same with the Braum, so I don't think they can really fight it. I don't think there's much of anything you can fight as the second team All-Stars here, but we'll have to see if they go for it. Otacon is available. Sarvis is in the pit, but he's definitely not looking to start it. I think the Red All-Stars could just walk up and do it, but I think they're probably just going to look for a fight and try and threaten some of the base from the second team All-Stars.
A rare triple plant for Sarvers there. Yeah, it looks like they'll just be starting this up, and I don't think the blue side All-Stars can really do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, the Ruinous Otacon isn't going to be as powerful as the Voracious when you have a lead like this already, but it is just going to completely snowball the game out of control. It's going to feel like it's a 10k gold lead at this point. Although Avery is almost going to get a tower back, does not actually end up getting it. But now they're just going to walk 4 people down, and I think there is an angle where Kais is able to get something done, but they have the Rift Herald with them, and they could just be going for a Dancing Herald in base. That would be pretty funny. This is a disgusting lead, and Jacob is the one driving the car. Charge is going to go through, and now Sarvis is caught by the Ash Arrow, but it's a 4v4 on the top side of the map. Huge charm coming out from Dad, and they're able to snare him up so much, but Lispy is able to get the punch down and does so much damage, and now he just flashes onto Dave and drops the ultimate, and he's going to be dead, and this is a 4-for-0 wipe, and Darius is now going to have to show up. All he has is... oh my goodness, he has one item, and it is the Spear of Shojin, and that tower is going to be dead too. At least they're not going to get the Dancing Rift Herald, but this game is going to end in about 22.5 minutes.
Yo, Jacob timed that Herald charge perfectly. That was sick.
And Jacob flashing right as the game ends. Clean stuff from the first team All-Stars, showing that they were deserving of that title. But I'm probably just going to call stream there. I don't know if there's much in that game to talk about.
Oh, we don't want to give an MVP?
Everyone's the MVP.
Okay, we should interview them then.
Nah. I don't know. if the game lasted longer than 22 minutes, I would do that, but there just simply is not much to talk about. Also, everyone's like out of calls already, but whatever. Was fun. I think that went about how it was expected to go, but GG's to
Yeah,
everyone.
fun
Thanks for
game
playing.
though.
Yep. See ya.